Hi guys, so good afternoon. Welcome back to my magical world. I'm Frostbite, your favorite celebrity here in the Philippines. It's 13:51 in the afternoon right now. Ulit-ulit, no? Today is Saturday and it's November 9, 2024. You have to know, 'di ba? Kasi dapat nasa real time tayo. I love the filter. Apathy. You know that it's a very popular song right now, 'di ba? Bruno Mars and the Korean girl. So let's start, guys, before I get busy again because I'm doing something. I just left it there, but we're still going to continue. Okay, so um, we're on to page 85 and 86 of the book flow mastery of the book mastery. Okay, so he turned even something as simple as a stairway into a dynamic piece of sculpture. The buildings he designed seemed to defy gravity, creating a feeling of movement in their still forms. Studying this booklet, Calatrava now developed a new obsession to learn the secret of how such buildings came out. As soon as he could, he transferred to the one architecture school in Valencia. Graduating from the school in 1973, Calatrava had gained a solid education in the subject. He had learned all the most important design rules and principles. He was more than capable of taking his place in some architecture firm and working his way up. But he felt something elemental was missing in his knowledge. So, in looking at all of the great works of architecture that he most admired, the Pantheon in Rome, the buildings of Gaudi in Barcelona, the bridges designed by Robert Maillart in Switzerland, he had no solid idea about their actual construction. He knew more than enough about their form, their aesthetics, and how they function as public buildings, but he knew nothing about how they stood up, how the pieces fit together, how the buildings of Le Corbusier managed to create that impression of movement and dynamism. You check my pronunciation because I'm not French. I'm not Spanish, guys. I am an alien. Continue, guys. Sobrang ano natin, no? Uh, you focus on me, okay, and what I'm reading. So it was like knowing how to draw a beautiful bird, but not understanding how it could fly. As with drawing, he wanted to go beyond the surface, the design element, and touch upon the reality. He felt that the world was changing. Something was in the air. With advances in technology and new materials, revolutionary possibilities had emerged for a new kind of architecture. But to truly exploit that, he would have to learn something about engineering. Thinking in this direction, Calatrava made a fateful decision. He would virtually start over and enroll at the Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich, Switzerland, to gain a degree in civil engineering. It would be an arduous process, but he would train himself to think and draw like an engineer. Knowing how buildings were constructed would liberate him and give him ideas about how to slow expand the boundaries of what could be made. Dali lang. So, in the first few years, he grounded himself in the rigors of engineering, all of the mathematics and physics required for the field. But as he progressed, he found himself returning to that paradox that he had been obsessed with in childhood: how to express movement and change. In architecture, the golden rule was that buildings had to be stable and stationary. Calatrava felt the desire to break up this rigid convention. For his PhD dissertation, he decided to explore the possibilities of bringing actual movement in architecture. Wait lang ah, I have to check something. I mispronounce it. It's ulitin natin, guys, kasi medyo I'm doing a lot of work, so medyo yung utak ko is not, I need food right now. So I need, I'm gonna eat like in a bit pagkatapos nitong video. Okay? So for his PhD dissertation, he decided to explore the possibilities of bringing actual movement into architecture, inspired by NASA and its design for space travel. Continue natin, guys. Pumasok lang ako because it's a bit, my voice is a little bit, parang siyang scattered outside. Okay? So, space travel as well as the folding bird wings designed by Leonardo da Vinci. Calatrava chose as this topic the affordability of structures, how through advanced engineering structures could move and transform themselves. Completing his dissertation in 1981, he finally entered the work world after 14 years of university apprenticeship in art, architecture, and engineering. So that was amazing, no? Sobrang the complexity of what he studied. In the coming years, he would experiment in designing new kinds of collapsible doors, windows, and roofs that would move and open up in new ways, altering the shape of the buildings. He designed a drawbridge in Buenos Aires that moved outward instead of up. In 1996, he took up all this a step further with his design and construction of an extension to the Milwaukee Art Museum. Actually, narinig ko na tong Milwaukee Art Museum. I hope one day, if it's still existing, makapunta ako dito. So it consisted of a long glass and steel reception hall with an 80-foot ceiling, all shaded by an enormous movable sunscreen on the roof. The screen had two ribbed panels that opened and closed like the wings of a giant seagull, putting the entire edifice into motion and giving the sense of a building that could take flight. We humans live in two worlds. First, there is the outer world of appearances, all of the forms of things that captivate our eye. But hidden from our view is another world, how these things actually function, their anatomy or composition, the parts working together and forming the whole. This second world is not so immediately captivating. It is harder to understand. It is not something visible to the eye, but only to the mind that glimpses the reality. But this how of things is just as poetic once we understand it. It contains the secret of life, of how things move and change. The division between the how and the what can be applied to almost everything around us. We see the machine, not how it works. We see a group of people producing something as a business, not how the group is structured or how the products are manufactured and distributed. In a similar fashion, we tend to be mesmerized by people's appearances and not the psychology behind what they do or say. So, as Calatrava discovered in overcoming this division in combining the how and the what of architecture, he gained a much deeper, or rather more rounded knowledge of the field. He grasped a larger portion of the reality that goes into making buildings. These allowed him to create something infinitely more poetic, to stretch the boundaries, to break the conventions of architecture itself. So understand, we live in the world of a sad separation that began some 500 years ago when art and science split apart. Scientists and technicians live in their own world, focusing mostly on the how of things. Others live in the world of appearances, using these things but not really understanding how they function. Just before this split occurred, it was the ideal of the Renaissance to combine these two forms of knowledge. This is why the work of Leonardo da Vinci continues to fascinate us, and why and why the Renaissance remains an ideal. This more rounded knowledge is in fact the way of the future, especially now that so much more information is available to all of us. Diba? So we're done na, guys. I'm so happy and grateful that I am here with you today kasi I'll be making a lot of changes from this day onwards. So I have time now to be with you. So just so happy. Miss you guys. So I'll see you again. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for helping me make this world a better place for all of us and for the future generation. Stay with me, guys. If you're not subscribing yet, subscribe now. Okay? So I just wanted you to stay with me. Ayan, sige na. Sige na. Mag-ano na kayo. Pull your shit together. Get shit done. Okay? So, Sabado ngayon. Have some amazing rest.